Hello everyone, welcome back to ArxangelRC. Today I am making a swing to copters because I got a few new additions and they are turning out to be rather good. The first of the bunch is the Eachine Wizard TS215, a 5-inch racer. The reason why this particular model attracted my attention was the fact that it comes with 2306 motors. Generally 22 size motors are punchier with a sharper response to throttle changes, which makes them perfect for hardcore racing, but 23 size motors have more precise control and allow for smoother flying, although you wouldn't guess that when you see the onboard footage from my flying later on. The other reason was the fact that the Wizard also comes with a 720p onboard DVR, and that is something I'm seeing for the first time. Now, before you go and jump on the "but Runcam Split has been doing this for a while" bandwagon, you should know that this is not the same type of camera setup. You have a regular camera just like an Arrow V3 or a Swift 2, only I would guess cheaper, and it is connected via a regular video signal cable to a DVR which is on board the copter, which then sends it to the OSD and then to the video transmitter. Granted, it records the analog video signal and it is not of an HD quality, but at least the delay is not bigger than the Split, and it does provide an interference-free recording of the flight, albeit in some weird 720p, which seems like a stretched PAL resolution, but it still does look nice, especially when you consider that it is probably 3 times cheaper than a Runcam Split. The rotary button that is on the board is used for setup and to start and stop recording. It will not start on its own, so you will have to remember to start it prior to taking off and then to stop the recording before unplugging the battery to avoid corrupted files. Other interesting bits about this copter are the 40 amp ESCs, and what is more impressive is that they are also 6S capable, though the battery wire thickness definitely does not suggest it could handle 160 amps, at least not for more than 1 or 2 seconds. The antenna mount was also particularly fascinating to me, definitely a weird place to put it, but it will be better protected there than anywhere else on the frame. You also get self-adhesive foam legs which do raise the frame a bit and actually are useful when you're working on it without the battery mounted. Overall, the frame is quite thick and stiff, definitely not the lightest frame out there, but only time will tell how long it will last. The hydro dipped paint job looks very nice and is quite uniform, and overall the frame is quite neatly built and set up, so kudos to Eachine for the effort. I am however not a fan of the fact that the flight controller is also used as a part of the frame, but it is what it is, and as long as I don't smash it too much it should be okay. Also, the props that come with this copter are Cyclone T5046C, and even though they're probably not the best props out there from a performance point of view, that transparent look is awesome and I hope I don't ruin them, at least at this time. Now, since I got my Wizard with the XM Plus receiver, I decided it would be nice to bind it to the new iRange-X radio that I also recently got and made them both items together. Problem is, the first flight with the iRange-X radio on the smaller Lizard 105S copter showed that it does have some issues, so I bound the Wizard back to my Terranis since I didn't want to risk crashing it on first takeoff. I also replaced the zip ties holding the receiver antennas since they were warped in a weird shape when I took the copter out of its box. In addition, I raised the camera's angle as much as I could, but sadly this is the highest it would go, so I will either have to figure out another way to mount it or use a different camera if I want it to go higher, but I guess for a maiden it should do just fine. Last thing to do before heading out was to set a few flight modes, the channel mapping, and configure the OSD in Betaflight. That really is all you have to do in most cases, as everything else is already done. I also changed the ESC protocol from DShot 1200 to DShot 600 because somebody was complaining about some issues they've had with DShot 1200 recently in our local chat, so I thought I'd keep to something that is confirmed to be working properly. Besides, given my racing skills, neither would make much of a difference. I'd still hit those gates a lot. So moving forward, on the receiver tab, make sure you set the channel mapping according to your radio, and also make sure all channels that are in use have their midpoint signal at 1500 exactly. Then set the flight modes and an arming switch according to your liking on the modes tab. I actually only use air mode and very rarely angle, so those are the 2 modes I usually set, with the beeper mode in the middle position of the 3-way switch. Keeps it simple that way. And last, configure the OSD to your liking. I noticed that this flight controller has a barometer accelerometer, being a modified Omnibus F4 and all, so I decided to leave the altitude indicator just out of curiosity. So at long last the Wizard was ready to fly, and wouldn't you know it, it does fly indeed. And if I'm to be absolutely honest, it sounds surprisingly quiet. But that is yet another benefit of 2306 motors and low pitch props. It's much quieter than all the other copters at the field that day, including the smaller Lizard 105S. That is, of course, until I punched the throttle, but even then it is still quieter. It also sounds smooth and very well balanced, and it is just a pleasure to listen to it. I almost didn't want to fly it so as not to ruin that. First thing that I noticed though was that the camera's field of view was not what I prefer, and also the image quality was not what I had gotten used to with the Runcam and Foxeer cameras, so I may end up replacing it, seeing as it also can't be angled up more than this. The second thing I noticed was that the default Betaflight PIDs were not the optimal tune for the Wizard, as they did introduce some shaking at higher throttle, so for the next few flights I did some tuning, and after making it worse for a flight or two, at the end I did set it in the correct direction and the copter started to fly very well. It still needs a bit more tuning, but it does behave and feel a lot more responsive and stable compared to the first flight. In terms of receiver performance, the XM Plus was perfect without a single glitch with my new antenna placement, but I actually do expect that to be so, since I have been out to 1.6 kilometers with it on my Nano Talon with 70% RSSI, so 300 or 400 meters on a racing copter should be child's play. Only drawback here is that the receiver is not flashed with the firmware that allows it to output its RSSI on channel 16, hence I was not able to monitor that on my OSD, but I might flash it and make use of that functionality. Would be interesting to see how it behaves on a racer where all the gear is packed very close to each other, in contrast to a plane where you have more room to separate the modules. Sadly, that day we did not set up any racing gates due to the grass areas around the airstrip being flooded, and since lately I got used to flying with racing gates, I wasn't quite sure what to do at an empty field, so pretty much just punched it up and down, tried to get it tangled in a tree, and just zoomed around testing the new PID settings. This is actually my first ever proper 5-inch racer of the modern era, and it does feel very different from what I'm used to with my Falcon Evolution 120. These larger props seem to have more grip in the air, and punch-outs do feel like they're happening quicker, and the copter is accelerating faster than the smaller one. And the increased weight definitely makes it more inertial, meaning when I punch it and then drop the throttle, it keeps going up or sideways more than the smaller copter. The higher weight allows it to keep its momentum for longer even when the props aren't pulling it, and when I get the hang of it, this will make for some amazing shots and maneuvers, but sadly for the time being you will have to suffer through my jerky control and the not yet optimal PIDs. The recording from the onboard DVR is better than I thought, although it is obviously stretched from a lower resolution to match that 720p 16:9 final recording format. To be honest, I would have much preferred if they had left the 4:3 format at the same bitrate, would have given us a noticeably higher quality recording, even if not 16:9. I assume they're simply stretching the original power resolution, because even though this is 720p, it definitely looks pixelized and not very detailed, which is usually what happens when you stretch something in this manner. But enough about video stuff. The Wizard TS215, in my opinion, is a pretty nice package for what it costs. In comparison, if you want to go hard racing stuff, motors and ESCs alone will set you back $150 or more, and that is stuff for more advanced pilots that actually go to races. If you just want to have fun or set up racetracks for flying with friends, I doubt you will need more than what the Wizard has to offer, and the price really does seem like a bargain, especially considering it comes fully built. You just need to either bind to your radio in the case of an XM Plus receiver, or add your own receiver, add the battery, mount the props and go flying. There are more efficient and lighter props out there, so there is room for performance improvements at little cost, and I'm certain it will give most of you, be it complete beginners or intermediate pilots, countless flights of great fun. I will order some other props and will keep playing around with the PIDs to see what I can squeeze out of it, but in any case I don't see my skills outgrowing this one, anytime soon, and just in case you are not the dedicated hardcore racing copter pilot, then you are like me, and I think this one would keep you happy for a while. Now, if you have found this video interesting and useful, please like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, and also hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button so you can be notified when I upload a new video. All relevant items featured in this video have been linked below, and buying anything via those links will help support this channel. Another way to support me would be Patreon. The link for that is in the description as well. No matter which way you do it, all support is appreciated more than you know, and I would like to thank all who have chosen to do so. Happy racing, and until next time.